Hello friends, it's Manoj Pal again, and today is 18th April 2021. Today I am going to narrate two incidents that took place 50 years ago in 1971. My target audience is, of course, like my other video stories, is new generation boys and girls. Elders know whatever I am going to tell you. But a new generation boys and girls, I feel they should know the history that took place 50 years ago and shaped the future of the subcontinent in a big way. On 17th April 1971, as everybody knows, the first provincial government of Bangladesh in exile was sworn in Bodhanath Tola, which was of course later renamed as Mujibnaga, with Syed Nazrul Islam as acting president and Tajuddin Ahmed as acting prime minister. Next day, 18th April, entire Deputy High Commission of Pakistan in Kolkata defected in favor of Ganaprajatantri Bangladesh, which had been formed only day before. The entire Deputy High Commission, including Deputy High Commissioner Hussain Ali, as well as his 70 colleagues, and the new Bangladeshi flag was flying over this Deputy High Commission office in Kolkata. And they had also taken all the money from State Bank of India. That was a different story. But today I am going to concentrate on how this new provincial government was formed on 17th April 1971. Everybody knows all these things started. All these developments started, Mukti Juddha started after this brutal genocide Operation Searchlight that had been committed by Pakistanis on Bengali population on March 25 night. This created huge sensation and condemnation all over the world, particularly after this blood report came out. Blood report means this Archer blood report that went to USA and was made public. But in India, as a close neighbor, we are watching the developments with serious concern. With serious concern, we were watching what is happening in East Pakistan, and we are afraid that we will have to bear the brunt of it, this way or that way. First of all political parties, from if I call March 27th is the day one after this declaration of, this war by all these military officers, Major Jia, Khaled Musharraf, Major Safiullah, Major Siyar Datto and all. Then March 27th itself, people started demanding recognition of a new nation, Bangladesh, in India. All intellectuals, all political parties, except Swatantra Party, all political parties, all intellectuals, painters, journalists, dramatists, writers, everybody in India were asking recognition for Bangladesh. From 27th March itself, the then BSF DG, he was the first DG, Director General of Border Security Force, KF Rustomji, Khasru Farmaruz Rustomji, is the only officer, the first officer. He was a very suave, very brilliant officer, extremely brilliant officer. KF Rustomji, highly respected one. He demanded that, I won't say demanded, he actually expressed his desire to the government of India that some action, quote unquote action, military action should be initiated. Some support, military support should be given to the freedom fighters of Bangladesh for the liberation of East Pakistan and forming of Bangladesh. But government was not ready at that point of time for any military assistance, explicit and clear military assistance to the Muktijuddhas at that point of time. And it was only 27th March, only 2 days after this Operation Searchlight, the genocide. But political parties were up in arms. In the parliament, resolutions were taken. All political parties, except Swatantra Party, they demanded the recognition must be given to Bangladesh at once. Assemblies like our Tripura, Bihar, Nagaland, Assam, West Bengal took the similar resolution. This Bangladesh should be recognized. As I narrate the story, I'll have to consult my notebooks. Oftentimes, because it's not really possible for me to remember all the names and dates of the cuff. So let me consult it. You know what happened in Parliament? There were, this in April itself, in April 4, 5, during this period, several demonstrations and processions were brought out by political parties. They include Bharatiya Janasangha, this Janasangha. Very recently you have heard this Narendra Modi, our Prime Minister, had said that he had participated in a demonstration for this Bangladesh Liberation War. Yes, that was the demonstration by Bharatiya Janasangha. Not only Bharatiya Janasangha, also Sangyukta Socialist Party, Proja Socialist Party, then Hind Mazdoor Sabha, Congress O, Muslim League in Kerala, DMK, Bengal Congress in West Bengal. In fact, Prof Mukherjee moved the resolution in Rajya Sabha for recognition of Bangladesh. Azad Pakhtun Zirgai Hind, All India Samajwadi Party, all. People like Vinoba Bhave, Jai Prakash Narayan, Raj Narayan, everybody. Even Vinoba Bhave, a saintly man, not very much involved in this kind of, earthly things. Vinoba Bhave, Jai Prakash Narayan, they also extended the support for Bangladesh and demanded immediate recognition of new government there. On April 5 itself, 300 intellectuals who included teachers, painters, journalists, dramatists, they all went to meet Prime Minister Indira Gandhi to press for the demand for recognition of Bangladesh. Even K. Subramanyam, the doyen of Indian strategic affairs, is a very big name, K. Subramanyam, and he was at that point of time director of ITSA. What K. Subramanyam said and what he said made a lot of difference, because as a strategic affairs expert, he was considered as, this an authority. What he said, let me quote. What India must, I am quoting him, K. Subramanyam, what India must realize is the fact that the breakup of Pakistan is in our interest. An opportunity the like of which will never come again. The so-called international forum has not deterred any major power from taking action to protect its interest. A bold initiative on our part to help the struggle in Bangladesh to end quickly and victoriously is therefore called for. That was what K. Subramanyam said. And what the communists and Marxists said. You see this in Rajya Sabha, CPI leader Pessgupta, he said, "Our sympathies and our hearts go out to the people of East Pakistan because they are fighting for democracy, fighting for their right of shaping of destiny in their own way." A.K. Gopalan, CPM, in Lok Sabha, he condemned the incident, the brutal onslaught and military massacre, and wholeheartedly supported the struggle of the people of Bangladesh. Professor H Mukherjee of CPI, he said it is a kind of revolution almost without precedence in history. V.K. Krishna Menon, he also, said a spontaneous movement. Shobhar Guha urged the Indian Prime Minister to act as a courageous daughter of Mother India and raise a banner of defending revolution in Bangladesh. A.K. Sen, Congressor, he said the voice of Asia, the voice of the colonial world, which is speaking out to the whole humanity for succor and help in their hour of distress and in their hour of enslavement. Anyway, this Indian Parliament also took a resolution. But you can very well understand what is the pressure that was being mounted upon the government of India for recognition of Bangladesh. There's a huge pressure. And at that point of time, in April, these people have started fleeing from East Pakistan and started taking shelter in Tripura, West Bengal, Assam, Meghalaya, etc. The pressure started mounting gradually, but steadily. It was at that point of time, there are too many things were happening. That is the pressure this India government was facing for recognition of Bangladesh government. On the other hand, in the field, Major Zia in Sabrum area, Major Khaled Musharraf in Kunabon, Malagar area, Safiullah over there in northern part and others were in other parts, they are fighting the Pakistanis. In the meantime, BSF commandos have also started coming to Tripura and taking part, wearing lungis and genjis and going inside. Clandestine operations are being carried out by BSF commandos under the command of Brigadier B.C. Pandey here in Agartala. But what the political leaders were doing, these Bangladeshi East Pakistan political leaders are doing, they were, Mujib was already in jail, Bangabandhu was already in jail, and the other leaders like Tajuddin Ahmed and Nazrul Islam, they had to flee. Because all these leaders, Pakistan is like a rabid dogs, so they were searching for these political leaders in the country, in East Pakistan. Had they been caught, had they been found, they would have been shot at a point blank range at that spot itself. They were in a grave danger. So they were fleeing East Pakistan and trying to cross over to India and organize this movement with the political legitimacy. It was at that point of time, Tajuddin Ahmed and his friend, Barrister Aminul Islam, they came to Indian border in West Bengal area. From there, they sent to officer, let me quote their name, Tawfiq Ilahi Chaudhuri, SDPO Meherpur, and Mahbubuddin, SDPO Jhinaidah, to the Indian BSF BOP with a request that they want to cross over to India and meet the Indian authorities. So they had one condition, of course. Tajuddin Ahmed should be given, if he is accepted in India, if he is allowed to cross over to India, he should be given, he should be accepted with the due protocol, because he is an elected leader. So when this BOP commander got this request from these two officers, Tawfiq and Mahbubuddin, he immediately sent this information to West Bengal, Calcutta, in West Bengal, in charge of West Bengal, in Calcutta, to a IG BSF, who happened to be a very brilliant officer, Gulok Bihari Majumdar, goes by the name of Gulok Majumdar. Everybody knows about his Gulok Majumdar. And I heard that he happened to be an SP at a point of time in Tripura too. Gulok Majumdar was well aware of what is happening, and he was actually second-hand man of KF Rustomji. So immediately Gulok Majumdar came to the BOP and sent his BSF man to bring these two leaders to India. Tajuddin Ahmed and Aminul Islam, they were actually sitting on a breeze in a near mangrove, near an Ambagan. It's a very deserted area kind of thing, out of sight of the Pakistanis and all. And this BSF man went there with a boat and gave a guard of honor, in whatever manner is possible at that point of time, to Tajuddin, and with all respect and this protocol, he was brought to India. And both of them were wearing only lungi and sendubeni and genji. They were starving. They came down to the border all the way from Dhaka by foot. They were walking down to reach India. After they reached India, they were taken to Calcutta, and that was on 30th March. And immediately this BSF DG KF Rustomji was informed, and he flew down to Calcutta on that night itself from Delhi. KF Rustomji came and they went to New Market, bought these some dresses, pajama, Punjabi, suit, trousers, coat, and all these things, shirts for Aminul Islam and Tajuddin Sahib. Then they were taken to Delhi for meeting with Indira Gandhi. Tajuddin had specifically requesting for meeting with Prime Minister of India, Indira Gandhi. So they were taken to Delhi, and on April 4, they met Indira Gandhi. Let me consult my notebooks who are there with them. When Tajuddin and Aminul Islam met Indira Gandhi in Delhi on April 4, they had with them M.R. Siddiqui, Professor Yusuf Ali, Shirajul Haq, Rahman Shwan, a famous economist, and maybe 2 or 3 more Bangladeshi intellectuals who were there at that point of time in Delhi. They were there in the meeting. In the meeting, Tajuddin and all the leaders, they were pressing for one thing: please give recognition to Bangladesh government so that this fight against these Pakistanis get some legitimacy and acceptance all over the world, that it is backed by government and it has got the political element component in it. Indira Gandhi was already under severe pressure of that, because from March 27th itself this pressure had started on Prime Minister Indira Gandhi for recognition, but she was playing with the time, because she, as a Prime Minister of such a big democracy, cannot suddenly take a decision and put all the cards on the table. No, she cannot go for an immediate showdown kind of thing. No. So she was playing her cards very cleverly, and as per the advice from her advisors. So they were brought back to Calcutta, these leaders, Tajuddin and all, to Kolkata on 7th April. In the meantime, it was decided that yes, a Bangladesh government should be shown in, and BSF was entrusted with the task. And it may sound very simple to arrange a kind of swearing-in ceremony by a force like BSF and all, but it was not that simple at that point of time. This ceremony could not be taken in a very big hall with all this glitzy light and all this decoration and in a very ceremonious way, because people were fighting on the field, people were fleeing from East Pakistan. So this swearing-in ceremony should be taken in an ambience which is befitting to the mood of the time. So it was decided that it should be taken in the open field, and there should not be a huge ceremony kind of thing, not very glitzy and glittery kind of thing. It should be, it should be at par with the mood of the people. The most important point is that it should be taken in Bangladesh area. And in entire Bangladesh area, these Pakistanis were searching for these leaders, and everywhere they had their eyes open. And by this time they had already started some kind of helicopter operations. Helicopter started strafing kind of thing in some areas. Had the ISI or CIA known, had the Pakistanis known that this kind of ceremony is being taken in some place in Bangladesh, immediately they would attack the place, wipe out the entire leadership, political leadership of Bangladesh, East Pakistani leadership, Bengali leadership, and that will create a disaster for not only Bangladesh, East Pakistan, but also for India. Globally and internationally, from every sphere, nationally of course, this government will come under serious pressure. It was a huge embarrassment and loss of face and everything, and loss of the cause. This Bangladesh liberation would end with a whimper, just all leaders gone, everything gone. So it was a very, very, careful planning that was required, and BSF did it. But before that, one thing was required, that is proclamation of independence. This proclamation of independence was drafted on April 10 April 1971. Many people told me, the researchers, like Shopan Kumar Bhattacharjee of Udaipur, Bikot Chaudhary, the former journalist, and many others who were at that point of time who were watching this development very closely in Agartala. They said this draft was, this proclamation of independence was drafted in Agartala Circuit House. And K.P. Dotto, a bureaucrat with the state government of Tripura government, had played a key role. Many people told me about that, but personally I have not come across any document that said it was drafted here. But they knew and they told me so. Whatever. This proclamation of independence for Bangladesh was declared on April 10, 1971. Now the second phase comes, how this government will be formed. This was drafted by the BSF legal officer, chief legal officer of BSF, N.S. Bains, B-A-I-N-S. It was drafted by Colonel N.S. Bains, who is a legal officer of BSF, and this draft was approved by Subrata Rai Chaudhary, an eminent barrister of Kolkata. There are lots of meetings, how this swearing in ceremony will happen, and there are other issues also. One issue was that what will be the name of the new country? By this time, everybody had already started calling it Bangladesh. Bangladesh, the name Bangladesh is already there. Even in Madison Square, they started this song, this Harrison Ford and John Baez and all the, Ravi Shankar and all, those concerts and everything. Besides that, there's in Bangladesh itself, in East Pakistan itself, they had already started calling it Bangladesh. But still, to make it officially, they had to discuss this matter. So they had some other names also, Shadhin Bangla. Then some said no, Shadhin Bangla after it is liberated, is independent Bangladesh. This Shadhin Bangla doesn't mean anything actually. So let's talk about Bongo Bhumi. Then they said no, foreigners won't be able to pronounce it properly. Then they talk, let's call it Bongo. Then they said no, Bongo, then people will confuse it with Paschim Bongo. So ultimately they start to this Bangladesh is okay, is already there, let's go for Bangladesh. Then what will be the, this national anthem for this country? There are two songs that they zeroed down. One is Dhano Dhanne Pushpe Bora and the other is Amar Sonar Bangla Ami Tumaye Bhalobashi. Ultimately this Amar Sonar Bangla Ami Tumaye Bhalobashi, this song was very favorite of Bangabandhu Mujibur Rahman, so it was also chosen. Then comes the, this flag. What will be the flag of Bangladesh? So naturally, Bangladesh being a very, this green and all, so this green, flag, and since it's being born through a revolution, so they thought of a, a red sun. But then there is a problem that people may confuse it with, Japanese flag and all. So what they did, they put the Bangladesh map also into it. As all these things happened, so next part is how the publicity should be given for this swearing in ceremony. Without publicity, the purpose will be lost. Entire world must know that a government is there, a government has been formed, and this government has declared war against Pakistanis. It was a huge task. And this was done very brilliantly by this public relation officer of BSF based in Kolkata. He is Mr. Bose, S.R. Bose. I think S.K. Bose or S.R. Bose, something like that. He contacted 82 journalists, most of them foreign correspondents from USA, UK, Russia, then Canada, Australia and all. They were contacted and they were told that one big event is going to happen. If you want to witness, you come over. So they came over, and in Calcutta, they were, and that was this message went on 16th April night only, because even the reporters were not given much time to discuss and talk to each other and speculate. So you come over immediately, and they came over, and at night they were kept somewhere, and 18 cars, 18 jeeps, 18 BSF jeeps, one bus, and 2 more vehicles were lined up in the night in the Calcutta road, and they were taken in these vehicles. And in the midnight they started moving out, so that people are not aware. In Calcutta, people, they don't see this convoy is going somewhere with BSF and many foreigners inside. Foreigners means foreign correspondents. They reached over there at Baidyanath Tola. And this area, Baidyanath Tola, is also known as a Bhaber Par. Actually, this area was chosen by Aminul Haq. He had once been there for a meeting, and he knew the this location. This area is actually jutted into this Indian territory, and in the 3 sides is covered by Indian land mass and all. So BSF, what BSF did to prevent any Pakistani operations, they had even deployed anti-aircraft gun to everything. It's a huge deployment was made, so that everywhere, so that even if Pakistanis come to know about this swearing in ceremony before, and if they want to attack, they should be repelled with real force and all. But as it happened, this neither CIA nor ISI, no Pakistani establishment could get any idea as to what actually happened. It was only after this press conference was held and this news flashed all over the world in the news media, morning media and all, that people came to know and got stunned. So this area in Baidyanath Tola, this on 17th April, this swearing in ceremony was conducted. They were given guard of honor by these Mukti Juddhas, not in very good, very formal dress and all, but whatever dress they had and arms they had given a proper salutation and proper guard of honor to the political leadership. Their acting president, Syed Nazrul Islam, and their Prime Minister Tajuddin Ahmed. There were Colonel M.A.J. Usmani, there were Khandakar Mustaq, and other political leaders, all were there in the dais. And to sing their national anthem, BSF also brought a troop from Krishnanagar to Baidyanath Tola. The first, officially first national anthem of Bangladesh was sung by a troop from Krishnanagar, West Bengal, in Baidyanath Tola. So after this swearing in ceremony is over, and there was an informal chat with the journalists. One journalist, asked Tajuddin Ahmed, "Sir, Mr. Tajuddin, do you have any plan to give this place a name, or will you call it as Baidyanath Tola or Bhaber Par all the time?" Then all these matters were discussed at a point of time with BSF and government authorities. Threadbare discussions, minute to minute, second to second, and all these points were covered. But this point was never, crept in their, discussion. The name of the Baidyanath Tola, whether it should be renamed and all. But when this question was asked, and Tajuddin was a little bit fumbling, yes, it should be renamed, but etc. etc. Then one person is a very famous name again in somewhere I have read. His name is Asabul Haq. Asabul Haq. He maybe one surname is also there. Asabul Haq Juardar. But Dr. Asabul Haq whispered to Tajuddin Ahmed, "Why don't you rename it after our leader Mujib Bhai. Let's call it Mujibnagar. Then Tajuddin said, yes, we'll rename it as Mujibnagar. So this Badrinath Tola became Mujibnagar. Yesterday in Bangladesh, they celebrated Mujibnagar Day. That was the day this provincial government in exile was sworn in with direct help from BSF. This is for my new generation friends. Maybe another day I'll tell you how this defection took place of this Deputy High Commissioner of Pakistan in Kolkata in favor of Ganaprajatantri Bangladesh on 18th April 1971, 50 years ago. Thank you very much.